now inside this file, inside this file, how to open up a side file. So first is, let's take a variable. Let's a file. I'm taking this variable of file. So you must see what's called open. So you will open up a file inside this file. So you go to open and it takes two arguments. The first one is your file name. My file doesn't get the file must be contained inside this same folder. Okay. And after that, the second argument will be it's referring here with the text mode. So what is the mode you are opening the file? There are four types of so all four types of modes is first one is W, which is writing, writing for R for reading, A for append, X for exclusive, or I can say this is a bit different from all the others because this is how it works. So the first thing, let's open this file in read mode. So I can in read mode I can read the content, but I can't on write. So the first thing I'm going to do, let's say just read the whole file. File so now I have read all the things that contain that file. Okay, so now if I not hello world, see my file contains only hello world. Let's add another line. Hello there. Now if I run this command once again, it's printing both of them. Now, and if I run this again, also now it's giving me nothing because I have opened the file in read mode and now I'm running read line. What this read line is, it becomes basically a serious type of thing. So the first thing I'm going to do is read line. Now as the read line facing nothing like right, and also after you use read line you can add right. So if I have this and instead of reading I can and print x returning in why is this read line returning nothing because how the read mode works is it's empty up all the file data. So if I have just hello world and hello there oh, sorry, I have to print it also. Print line 2, and sorry, line 2, first one will be line 1, the second one will be line 2, line 2. Okay, now if I print it here, see it's printing both of those lines. Okay, so now you can understand what this read file do. Basically, if you read everything out, then there is nothing to read. That's why it's not showing read line, anything like that. And if you use, let's say, if I use something like read line, then what it will do is see the return type. Okay, you have already shown the return type that this is a list. This will be a list. So if I print this line, so what it will contain is a list of all the lines. Okay, so now you know what it does. So let me just put another line in here and comment it out. Now after you have used all of your file, or you manipulated the file, everything is done, you use a trace called uh, file dot close. Okay, it will close the file. So if you, in future, if your file, I mean the Python file will use buffers and loaders like that, so it will not harm the existing file, the the file you are using inside this Python. It will not harm it. Most of the time, if you haven't closed the file, it will do nothing. Uh, in most of the cases, but in some cases it can harm your file or damage the data that the file contains. So I will suggest you to close your file every time, and there is also a shorter way to do this. I will show that to you also. uh, Next is the next is the append method. Let's just copy it and line, and I'm going to comment everything, and it is called append method. Okay, and append method works just like write W method. So I'm going to show you the W method. So what it does is I can write inside this file. Okay, so what I'm going to do is file dot write. See, right now my file contains hello world and hello there. How is it going? So if I write hey, okay, and now you don't have to print anything. Just run this file. I will go to my file.h, and if I run this file, hold on. If I run this file, see the contents changed to hey, right? Because I have put an hey inside this write. So there is another thing called write line. If I'm not wrong, yeah. There's another thing called write line. It's just like the read line. It will read out all the data that contains inside the list. So let's say I'm putting hello world, how going, let's say here. Now if I comment out this write, and if I run this, the file content will be changed. Hello world, how is it going, and hey there. So you can fix that, that it contains everything inside a single line. You can fix that by a null escape character. Just if I put null here, and don't need to put anything. So if I run this again, so as you can see, it puts everything in the new line. So one more thing, in write you can see every time I run this file with this write statement, it overwrites my file, right? It overwriting my file, whole file. See, it already overwrites everything. So in write, always remember the data your file is already containing, it will be overwritten, not appending. That's why we use append method. So if I use append method, and I will just close everything and uncomment this, and if I use a null escape sequence beforehand, so after that, if I use that, see my file contains this right now. If I run this, see the hey is appended. It's not overriding every data, it's just appending it. Okay, that is all for this append, write and read. Now the thing comes with exclusive creation. Okay, what this exclusive creation do? So first of all, let me do something about this exclusive creation. So see the data type I am going to show you. Just watch it very closely. Okay. The first thing is myfile.txt. Let's say I am writing a myfile.2.txt. If I use a exclusive creation X, so what's it going to do is, now if I see, this is my containing directory. If I run this function, see the myfile.2txt is created. That is fine because it's exclusive creation. That's okay. Now the next thing is, see, if I run this file one more time, I have already the myfile.2txt. So if I run this file one more time, see what happens. It will return an error. It's returning an error. I am using an exclusive function. The error is file already exists, myfile.2txt. So if in your function somewhere you have to check if there a file exists or not inside your directory, so you can use this function. You see, there is a fancy thing I have done, that you know how your Windows directory works. So if you have very much very few, not few many, if you have so much file inside your folder and you want to find a single file, and if you want to check if that file exists or not, you can write this code and run it, and it can confirm you for that. Okay, that if that file is existing, then it will throw an error, and if that file doesn't exist, then it will not throw an error. Okay, you can do that. And the next thing is, so exclusive creation, what it does is, it create a file if it doesn't exist, and if the file is existent, then it will throw an error. This is what exclusive creation does, nothing else. Okay, now the next thing is, the write mode also does the same thing, but with writing. Let's say if the file doesn't exist, it will create the file and write that file. Okay, so let's say if I put it here 3 and I put w here and everything out, and if I start this file, see, it creates my file.txt and it append everything inside here. Now see, if I use that same statement with a with 4, let's see what happens. It will do the same thing. It creates the file and append everything inside that file. So now the next thing is, what will happen if we use read with it. If we use read, it will show an error if the file doesn't exist. So if I type 5 and run it again, see, it's showing me an error. Now you know what read, write, append and exclusive does. Now let's do one more thing. Let's just, I have already told you, there is a fancy way of doing things where you don't have to close the file. So that is, let's just delete everything in here, one and this, let's delete everything, and now there is a called with. Okay, with open, and let's say myfile.txt with the mode of read as file. You can do any function in here. Let's say I'm doing something operations, so let's just read out the content equals to file.read, and after I have done reading, I want to print it, so and the content, and as the work is done it will automatically close the file. Okay, this is the fancy of writing this thing. This is called with as. Okay, so in with this statement open file in read mode and save it as file, this variable file, we can use this file inside this with statement. After this with statement we cannot access this file statement. Okay, so if I have to use file, let's say I am reading this file no, not this file, let's say content, one more time, con equals to file dot read. If I do this, it may contain some issues. Let's see if it contains issues. Yes, it contains some issues because we are using this file outside of this with scope. Okay, so we can't use that, so it closes the file. After that IO operation on closed file. See, it's already closed this file. So with statement you don't have to put any close statements. In other cases you have to put close statements. So that is all for this file creation and input and output of statements. See you in the next video. Thank you for watching.